That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Get back, he's not lazy. No one shoot. Stop out.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We're through left, right and centre there, and welcome to Walter Massey Park, the home of the Hawks. My name's Troy Hardy and I'm with the Auckland Rugby League, and this is our first live stream game for 2021. It's round 2 and we're being hosted at the Mangere East Hawks here, as I said, at Walter Massey Park, and they're going to be looking after the Northcote Tigers, who travel across the bridge today, and both teams are coming off a first round loss, so they'll be looking for some redemption today and getting some insight to both sides. Corey Ross is going to join us very shortly as he gets to get the lowdown with some of the coaches, and also we'll catch up with the chairman of the Mangere East Club and find out what's going down in town here at the Hawks Nest. Don't go too far away, put the billy on. Corey Ross is going to join us very, very shortly.
All right, joining me now for the first time this year, Richie Blackmore. Well, Richie, we come off a disturbed year. We didn't even get to finish the comp last year. I guess for yourself, first of all, as a league fan and a coach, how does it feel to be back and I guess looking a whole lot brighter than it was this time last year?
Well, definitely looking a whole lot brighter today than this time last week. But as far as last year's concerned, absolutely, it's great to have that behind us. And looking forward to playing a bit of footy. Obviously, we had our first game last week, which ended in a loss. But it was just nice to get back on the paddock and watch the boys hit it out.
Operationally, what were some of the issues that last year caused in terms of trying to get players back? Did you find it hard to get some of those guys back, just given that last year was so disturbed?
Well, look, I mean, that's a sort of a drive that came from the players themselves. So it wasn't a great deal behind what I was doing. I'm certainly by no means wrapped that they are. They have decided to come back and have a go at it, and as a result, largely the team is new. Well, new in the sense that they weren't here last year, but they're all Mangere boys at one stage or another. And it's going to take some time for us to get ourselves together, working as a team and understanding the attitude that's required to be competitive every week.
You mentioned some of the new guys and, mostly Mangere East juniors returning. Who's made the biggest impact over the off-season just in terms of, I guess, leadership and setting that culture that you're after?
Well, I think, look, I mean, James Dowie, who was here last year, was one of the very few that are in our side this year that has hung around. I mean, he's consistent in his application and commitment to it, and behind him or next to him, and Steedman and look, both of them are captains as a result of that. They certainly lead from the front or lead by example, and that's what you want from your captains. Behind that, you've sort of got a couple of other boys that they played with in the junior grades, and you've got someone like Junior Pitter. Been outstanding. JP's been there, so they've all put a bit of work in. But we're still having to improve the little mechanics that we need to focus on. And I think if we do that, and we get we hopefully get the points.
You touched on last week a bit of a heartbreaker there against Otahu. Where did it fall short last week, and as a result, what's been the work on this week?
Oh, it's never easy to try and win a game when you've had two blokes in the bin over the period of 80 minutes. But in any case, I thought we just, we didn't show the maturity or composure that was needed at the back end of the second half. As a result, we probably made quite a number of little decisions around dummy halves, in particular where we tried to dart to for a try. When really I didn't see that there was anything that suggested that was a good option. And we did that a little bit too much, and we were probably a little bit too flat, so we were just too keen. We're looking too often for points to make ourselves feel better, and we've got to get away from that and understand that we've got a defensive mentality that's going to hold us through tricky patches, and then when opportunities present, hopefully we're on them.
Excellent, Richie. Great to be back and talking footy again. All the very best today, and indeed for the remainder of the season.
Looking forward to it, and next time around, hopefully we're in a better spot than we were now.
There we go. All right, a short break before we bring in Jeff Morton from the Northcote Tigers.
Gentlemen, all right. Cheers, Richie. Good luck, Cheers.
All right, now joined by Jeff Morton, head coach of the Northcote Tigers. Well, Jeff, certainly a new look team from your point of view. I was just in the dressing room there and wasn't a lot of guys that I recognised. How's it been over the off-season, I guess, bringing this new group together?
Mate, it's only happened over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah, no, it's good. There's a good bunch of kids. The atmosphere is real good. They're all digging in hard, so it'll be interesting to see how they go today.
A few new guys, I think, taking the field today. We've got Albert Talakai and Sione Puli, who I'm not sure if he played last week, but guys who come off really strong campaigns in the 20s.
Yeah, there's 4 of them today from the 20s that are going to be having their first games for the club, so we're looking forward to see how they go.
In terms of, you have lost a fair bit of leadership out there, the likes of Morgan Tamoti Cook and Jordan Tiaho, have you noticed that those guys have possibly even stepped up another gear in terms of their leadership and the way they take this team around the park?
Yeah, big time. Training-wise, game-wise, yeah, there's a lot more talk going on from the halves. They've had to step up, and they're doing a really good job so far.
Last week, a reasonably narrow loss to Bay Roskell. The weather obviously played a huge role in all the games last week. What were your impressions of the performance last week?
For one training session, mate, it was a good effort. They worked hard. It was shitty conditions, and ball control was pretty awful, but never mind. But it was... Yeah, no, look, as I said, they worked hard. They had opportunities to win the game. We couldn't quite ice them. They scored a couple of tries in the last 5-10 minutes. Overall, mate, it was a pretty good result.
And today against the Mangere East team, who certainly have a few big names on paper, a fairly new-look team as well. What do you think the key to victory today will be?
It's footy, mate. Complete your sets. Keep turning them around, and make sure you make all your tackles.
There you go. It's that simple. Tends to be that way. Jeff Morton, thank you very much for joining us. All the very best today, and no doubt we'll see you again in a few weeks' time.
No worries. Cheers.
Okay, joined with TJ Ashford from the Auckland Rugby League. Good to have you here, TJ. As you can say, that's good to be here too,
it's
Troy.
great to be in your presence, Troy, so thanks for having me.
Oh, stop it. I'll give you 10 minutes to stop it. The chairman's just jumping out of the shower, so we thought we're bolstering the broadcast team, and TJ is an ex-premier coach from last season. Obviously missed a little bit of coaching this year, mate.
Yeah, got a bit of itchy feet last week, so here to be involved today with the great staff at Auckland Rugby League.
Cool, and you'll be giving us some technical insight with Corey, the caller, who's going to be here, obviously, for the main game. One of the things coming into this season, mate, you've been involved with a couple of programs, the under-20s and what have you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's actually quite exciting at the moment. So we've run through 2 combine tests over the last couple of weeks down at Cornwall Park. That's where we've taken a little bit of a leaf out of the NFL playbook, and we're doing a few tests and things like that with some of the kids, and just recording some of their times and all that sort of stuff, and making a big deal out of that program. So it's actually quite exciting.
Awesome, and I understand it's named after the great fella, the Big O, Ulster Filipina. In regards to the kids coming down to be involved with this program, is it something they've still got an opportunity to register for?
Yeah, we've just organised a team list, so everyone's been contacted over the last 24, 48 hours for the kids that have participated in it.
Yep.
But we're still open to any other under-20s and things like that are still looking at taking part in it, just to get them involved and all that sort of stuff. So if they are still interested, get a hold of Vigo Rasmussen at Auckland Rugby League, and he'll be able to sort you out.
And to do that, get onto the Auckland League site, so the www.aucklandleague.co.nz. A little bit more around your role at the Auckland Rugby League, mate, because no one understands it. What do you got lined up for the rest of the 2021 season?
Yeah, we've actually got another big campaign coming up in September, which is our Region of Origin campaign. So a lot of my work has gone on the 20s situation with Ulster Filipina Cup and also the Region of Origin. So with last year being a disrupted year with COVID, I'm actually quite excited to see some rep programs happening at Auckland Rugby League, and Region of Origin's been a bit of a baby of mine over the last couple of years. So excited to get that back up and running, and just seeing the North and South battle it out again.
Awesome. I understand there's a little bit of a format change to this year. A little insight to that?
Yeah, so we normally do it over 3 consecutive weeks, but we've got tight windows this year with there's quite a lot of representative stuff, not just with Auckland Rugby League, but New Zealand Rugby League and school, secondary school stuff. So we've decided to run it over 2 consecutive days down at Cornwall Park. So that's on Saturday and Sunday, 25th, 26th September. But it's a development program for us, so we make sure that the squads are able to select a big number of kids,
yep,
and they have to pick a certain amount of players from each club team that are in that grade as well. So we want to make sure that everyone gets a fair go. But I'm quite excited, man. It's again, it's been a long time since we've seen some grassroots footy, so it's quite exciting.
Absolutely. And in regards to the Region of Origin, and it's a key piece, boys and girls play.
Yeah, so that's or not last year, the year before we brought in our girls grade, which was quite exciting. So our grades for 2021, we've got under 13s, 15s, and 17s boys, and then we're doing 14s, 16s, and 18s girls. So. We're actually working on a bit of a development camp piece as well at the moment, so hopefully we can get that off the ground as well, because that's quite exciting. But yeah, we're just going through the processes to try and get that approved and stuff now.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, we're getting pretty well close to kick-off. I know Corey's going to be joining the commentary box very, very shortly as teams are warming up now, getting ready for the 2:30 kick-off. We're here at Walder-Massey, the home of the Hawks, as we get ready to see the clash here today, covered by ARL TV with our live stream partner CTAS, and they are going up against the Northcote Tigers. Don't go too far away, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to throw to the reserves action out on the field now. And put the billy on, get a nice cup of tea, or better still, if you're in the area, come down and join us and enjoy some live league action.
That was our premier reserve, ladies and gentlemen. Mighty the Northcote out there this afternoon. Prior to our main event game, premiers, Mighty Hawks taking on Northcote. Tony Somiho, you were requested at the ARL track. Tony Somiho, you were requested at the ARL track now.
Just move up a bit. Can you hear him now?
1, 2.
Yeah. Okay, we're good to go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, live from Walter Massey Park here in Mangere East, and it is for today's showcase game in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers between the Mangere East Hawks and the Northcote Tigers. Joined in commentary today by Troy Hardy and TJ Ashford, who we'll throw to for some conversation along the way. But in the meantime, we've just seen a thrilling reserve grade game, which I'm told Northcote win on the siren, and just judging by the mass hysteria which ensued after the try, it looks like a very, very happy Tigers team as well. So not long now until kickoff in the main game. We're going to highlight some of the other SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers matches which are going on today across Auckland, and we'll bring that draw graphic up now and talk through it as we see the Northcote Tigers now making their way off the field. So this is how it lines up. We've got the Papakura Seagulls taking on the Point Chevalier Pirates. The Barrow School Vikings are home to the Mount Albert Lions, who were first up winners last week. Marist and Glenora. Now this is the only clash, just on a bit of quirk of the draw, the only clash between unbeaten sides in round 2, which is something a little bit different. Of course, today's match here at Walter Massey, Jack Colvin Park sees Te Aratu take on the Howick Hornets, and Grayland Park, the Richmond Bulldogs, take on the Otahu Leopards. All right, let's bring in Troy Hardy, first of all, for a bit of a chat around the draw. And Troy, we saw both Mount Albert and Point Chevalier in action last week. The weather sort of dictated the game a little bit, but what were your impressions of that match?
Well, I actually thought that Mount Albert were looking really strong coming into the match. Wasn't too much noise around the Point Chevalier Pirates coming into that game of footy. And then, it's a strange week. It only takes a week in rugby league where there's a wee bit of player shifting around the clubs. And looked like, a few Northcote boys had made themselves a home at the Den over there in Lionstown. And, they kicked off. I think the weather probably played into the Pirates' hands. And, they came away with the W on the day.
And of course, that match was shown live on Sky Sport. And TJ, I know from a coaching point of view, you've observed it. Just given the conditions, was it kind of what you expected? And what were your takeaways from it?
Yeah, it definitely was. Obviously, Mount Albert have the smaller players and that sort of thing. So they probably were hoping for a dry track. But I thought they could have probably kicked better also in the second half and utilised that wind a bit better as well. So some missed opportunities, but still a close game. Those will be two heavyweights for the 2021 season, that's for sure.
One match that I've got circled on the fixtures list this week is this Marist versus Glenora match. Look, 2 round 1 winners, but I think the cool thing from an Auckland Rugby League point of view, a number of our Auckland under-20s players backing up for the Marist Saints. Good to see.
Yeah, one in particular was Dukes Kohiva. Spent a bit of time with him in the 19s Auckland side last year as well. So he's definitely exciting prospect coming through the grades there. So looking forward to seeing him a bit more this year. But it's just shows how good the system is at the moment, and having those under-20 systems coming through so we can help develop those younger players.
The Te Aratu Roosters, they struck first last week against Glenora, but ultimately went down, and the Howard Hornets sort of outlasted the Papakura Sea Eagles in the end there. That'll be an interesting clash at Jack Colvin Park, and the Richmond versus Otahu match. Look, Otahu, a bit of a new look side, TJ, to what we saw last year, but no doubt they will have taken a lot of confidence out of getting up over Mangere last week.
Yeah, just talking to a couple of the management staff from Mangere here today, they actually started off quite slow, Otahu, last week, so ended up coming away with the win. But again, they've got a few new players and a few outs from last year as well, which is some important people from the halves. So it'll just be about getting a bit of cohesion and stuff like that in there, and making sure that they can get the team gelling together at the back end of the season.
Excellent. All right, so those are the games taking place today. I encourage you to get down to your local ground if you are out and about today. Certainly great to have the footy back last year, and obviously last week, I should say, last year was not what we wanted with the season being cancelled, and there's certainly a sense of anticipation everywhere you go. It's nice to have the footy back, and within the next few weeks we'll have everything back. The kids will be back, the women's competitions, as well as the other senior grades as well. So we'll bring up the ladder, which of course doesn't mean too much after one round, but you can see that it's the Howard Hornets, Marist Saints, Glenora Bears, Bay Roskilde Vikings, Point Chevalier Pirates, and Otahu, who sit up top after winning in round one. And it looks like there may have been an error perhaps with that one as well. I'm just trying to look over that now, so there might be an error there with some of the numbers, but a chance for Mangere East to jump into the top half of the competition here today. And as I mentioned, the Marist Glenora game, with that being the only clash of the unbeaten so far, that'll be an interesting one there, and certainly a chance for one of those teams to glean a whole lot of confidence from that. Papakura is an interesting one, and TJ may be a good one to talk to here. We know a lot of the Franklin Storm guys are from there. You've done a bit with Jody Henry in the past as well, and I know he's an up-and-coming coach that people think very highly of.
Yeah, I personally think quite highly of Jody as well. So he's definitely got the technical aspect down of his coaching side. With regards to the team itself, obviously they just talking to a couple of the players last week as well. They started off quite well, the Papakura team. So it'll just be about stringing together probably an 80-minute performance for them. So that's something that Jody will have to drill into his boys this week.
And going back now to the game, and we're just a couple of minutes away from the two sides making their way out onto the field. We're in round two of the competition. There wasn't a lot of footy played last year. What are the, I guess, fundamentals, TJ, that you're looking for out of your players? We know that they're not going to be quite match fit as such right now, but what are the fundamental things that you want to be nailing in these first few rounds?
Yeah, there'll be certain elements that the coaches have been trying to drill over the last couple of weeks, in particular around their structure. But I reckon the coaches' messages will just be about keeping it simple and playing to our strengths. So obviously, I'm guessing Mangere will probably have the bigger side here today. So their strengths will definitely be around their forward pack. So if Northcote can do a good job around containing that, then they probably will come out close at the end of the game, if not winning. So for me, it will definitely be around playing to your strengths and trying to get those combinations gelling together.
And speaking of this Mangere East team, it's almost a completely new team from that which took the field last year. There's a couple of, surviving guys, but a number of club juniors who have returned. From your experience, how many competitive games does it take to get those combinations, or does it just depend on the personnel?
Yeah, it can depend on the personnel sometimes. If you're talking like a left edge or a right edge kind of thing, it just depends on what sort of relationship you have with those players. If the players get on quite well, you'll find that they can probably kick into gear a little bit earlier. But if they're very new to each other, it might take a little bit longer to build. So, but as a coach, you always, when you're picking your side and things like that, you always look at those combinations and what can work really well for you. But I see Siave in the centres today too, so I'm quite excited to see that guy run around again today.
Yeah, he's been in fine touch the last couple of years playing with Richmond, and it seemed that usually when Richmond got up for a victory, Siave was at the heart of it, scoring a couple of tries, and I guess just such a damaging ball carrier out of yardage as well. So we're going to highlight a few of the stars in both teams here now. So we'll bring up the team list for today as we see the teams just starting to enter the field from the left here. And they are pretty much as named, but a couple of jersey changes. So Viliami Lolo here will now play in the number 4, but will still play fullback. Sam Lulia comes into the centres for Lewis Sosomia. He will wear the number 6. James Dowie will play 5'8", but wear number 1. A couple of interesting ones here. Viliami Lolo here comes back from a period away in rugby union where he played a very high level, played Number of tests for Tonga, played with the Sunwolves as well, and Tasman here at New Zealand, domestic level. James Dowie will captain the side in the halves. He's a really good player, James Dowie, been around a long time, and of course won a Fox with Papakura back in 2016. He's joined by Damon Abbey, the talented younger brother of Brad Abbey, of course a famous name in St. Paul's circles, and he was there in 2015 when they won the Auckland title as well. But the strength really appears to be in the forward pack. Stedman, Lefau, Zion Tesesi, watch as well for Junior Pitta, the lock forward, and even if we look down to the bench, Joseph Price, who is a real energizer bunny, and I think probably a perfect sort of edge or middle player that you can bring on just to spark things up. So watch for the entry of Price at some point in the match. Turning to the Northcote Tigers, and look out for Ironi Biokotu. We saw him score, I think it was 4 tries in the final game for Northland in the under-20s. This guy is an athlete and one to watch. Watch as well for Albert Talakai, probably one of the better wingers in the under-20s, playing for Auckland Blue. Another strong ball carrier. He'll have an important role to play for the Northcote Tigers. The halves are experienced, and it's really the only positional group for this Tigers side where they boast genuine experience right now. Morgan Timoti Cook is the 6, Jordan Tiaho the 7, and look out off the bench for David Barner. He brings some much needed experience to this team as well. Mangere East, coached by Richie Blackmore. Northcote, Jeff Morton. Enough of my talking. Let's get to the action. Round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership, and it will be Mangere East kicking off. Northcote will run it back to the car park end here at Walter Massey Park. So referee Rasmussen looks at the watch and signals play, and we get into it. Northcote on the football first. This is Eddie Finota, long-standing prop forward for the Northcote club, and this is a Tigers side that have done so well in recent times. They've been a regular in the finals, and before that were sort of just on the edge of it. Have lost a number of those guys that were key components, but a chance for the next generation to perhaps make their mark for this team, which is again coached by Jeff Morton, who's done a fantastic job over the last few years. This is Dylan Vale jumping out of dummy half. Nice to see Dylan getting a run at Premier level. I remember meeting Dylan when he was a young fella at one of our Jets camps way back in, I think, 2014. Which makes me feel rather old, I must say, as Finota now carries up and takes them to within a couple of metres of the attacking half. Timoti Cook set to the left here for the Tigers, which is the way Vale will go. And it will be a high one off the boot, first of all. Going down towards Dowie, and just looking there, looks like James Dowie may have actually reverted to fullback. We'll keep an eye on that and maybe bring TJ in at some point to look at what might have been the reshuffle here. So Lolohea was named at fullback, but certainly it was Dowie fielding the kick on that occasion as the Hawks now work the ball forward, and this is via Louis Lahingoa. 5 short of halfway. Junior Pitta goes back door, brings in Lulia. Ball over the top now to Aaron Sela, who is taken down 5 inside and just about up over the horizontal. Landed safely, thankfully. This is Lolohea. And they move play on now to the number 8, who is the co-captain, Stedman Lefau. Eko Malu clears the ruck. They go high off the boot again. It's going to be a day for it with a bit of dew on the ground. They go up, but nicely taken in the end there from the Northcote winger. And yeah, just looking at that, TJ, does look like Viliami Lolohea has come out to this right edge, and Dowie certainly playing that fullback role.
Yeah, it won't be too much of a big change for James. He's played a fair bit of fullback in his time anyway, so I'm guessing that change wouldn't have been made this morning. It has definitely been worked on throughout the week, so Richie Blackmore's obviously identified that that's probably the best thing for the team this week.
There you go, you heard it first from TJ Ashford. Mangere East have pulled the wool over our eyes with their team naming, but you're quite right. James Dowie, an accomplished fullback, and from memory played there for Papakura when they won the Fox as well. As we see Northcote now go up over the halfway line. Timoti Cook gets all sorts of pressure but does eventually get to a kick, and it's not a terrible one in between Dowie and winger, and almost a miscommunication there now, although we see a break down the left-hand side, and this is Siave Tongiu. Fullback to beat. Siave takes him on, puts the fend on, gets rid of him. What a try to open this game. Siave Tongiu Breaks down the left-hand side, had the fullback to beat, and beat him he did with a ferocious fend. And it is Mangere East who take the early lead, 4 points to 0, 3 minutes gone here at Walter Massey.
SAS action replay here, brought to you by Sporting Apparel. And great fend. You know, look at the strength and the upper body strength there. Said, goodbye, I'm on my way to the try line. And a clear set of heels as he takes that ball round. Fantastic try, great opener. 4 points.
And we just saw on that kick there, TJ, it was sort of a bit of a rushed kick. They did get a kick away in the end, but do you put that down to the sort of staggered kick chase there, which obviously fell apart down that edge?
Yeah, it definitely was a staggered kick chase, but I also thought it was a good thing. Mangere let the ball bounce there, so I thought they were in a little bit of trouble. So the change paid dividends for Mangere with James at the back. He ended off offloading to Siavi, and we mentioned that pre-game that he was a player to watch. But a bit of a learning curve for the young Eloni at the back as well, trying to take that guy high. I probably would have chopped him low there, and that guy there, Siavi, is quite hard to tackle either high or low, so it was a tough job for him at the end there.
Yeah, and of course easy for me to say from the commentary box here, but just watching that, you had a feeling that was exactly how that was going to play out when you try and tackle Siavi up high. So James Dowie now to attempt the conversion. 4.5 gone on our game clock here. And flags are up. It is Mangere East who lead this one 6 points to 0 over the Northcote Tigers. Second use of the football, and Mangere East make it count. So a fast start here. Troy Hardy, the obviously ground a little wet from some of the rain we've had early on, but nice to see some expansive play early on here at Walter Massey.
Yeah, the ground's held up really well. Managed to get across it first thing this morning. Yeah, you're right, a little bit of rain first thing. However, I think the actual top surface is pretty firm, so we should see an open running game from both sides today, especially the Northcote Tigers. You know how Jeff likes to coach them. They certainly know how to play rugby league at the line. Back to the action.
So the Hawks back on the football now. We didn't mention him in the build-up, but Eko Malu returns, and I think he's had a year or two off. Of course, he's a former Northcote Tiger as well. Certainly a nice guy to bring into that dummy half role with all his experience. As we see a break through the middle of the park, and it's Junior Pitta taken down 5 short of the halfway line. Northcote struggling to get back the 10 now, and it's going to go through Lulia, who then hands off, links with his edge back rower, Terrell Lefau Sala. Malu will jump out and go down the right. Gets to his kick as well. Someone's gone down in back play. And it's scooped up, and I think we've got a try here in the corner. We'll wait for confirmation from referee Rasmussen, who points to the spot. Difficult to ID who scored that try there, and unfortunately we've got a little bit of shrubbery right in the way there as well. But another try for the Mangere East Hawks, and Troy, just like that, bang, bang.
Yeah, no sooner blink an eyelid, and the Hawks land back over there on that right-hand edge. Managed to just pick it up on our third camera. A bit slow switching to it, so that's my fault. I'll take that one as we get ready for the kick from way out here on the sideline. So there'll certainly be a test for young Dowie. I think he's lining up. Pretty impressive start for the Hawks, boys.
Really impressive start, and again you saw there just taking advantage of those edges for the Northcote Tigers, where they do have a bit of youth or inexperience at least at this level. And that time was sort of almost a broken down play again. A nice little option from Eko Malu. So Dowie now to attempt this conversion from about half a metre inside. We do apologise for the tree which was obstructing play a little bit, but all part of the grassroots sport experience.
That, and of course caring for our trees, and being process-driven animals that we are with the council, we don't touch any trees on any of our live streaming, Corey, as you know.
Yes, and I do know you're a keen gardener, Troy, no doubt. Back to the patch tomorrow. So we await the conversion. Nailed the last one from the opposite side. Looks pretty good again from Dowie. It's more than pretty good. It's another 2 points. Mangere East lead 12 points to 0 over the Northcote Tigers. TJ Ashford, what a start from the Hawks. Richie Blackmore must be delighted.
Yeah, he would be. It's definitely a good start by Mangere, but remember they did this last week. So their opportunity now is to try and learn from those mistakes and hopefully carry on with their current performance. That try there, very well executed. Put that down to the vision of Eko Malu. So I know growing up that guy played in the half, so he's obviously got a little bit of vision there. So he's utilised that, played to his strengths there and put a nice kick in behind the line to get a try.
So back into it we go, 8.5 gone, and it is the Hawks who bring the football back. Malu centralises, and Junior Pitts causing some issues already. Malu now off a quick play the ball. They're going to attack down this right-hand side in quick hands. Viliami Lola here off the right foot, looking back inside, finds an option outside instead of Aaron Silla, which is now a foot race, and Aaron Silla will go over. A try in the far right corner, and I think that may be his second in the space of about a minute and a half, to be honest. We were struggling to identify who it was early on, but I think it might have been Aaron Silla on the first try as well. And you just see here, it starts with Lola here, had options inside or out. In the end, does really well to find Silla looming on the right shoulder. And a try right down pretty much on the identical blade of grass as the earlier one about 2 minutes ago. And Troy Hardy, the Hawks, well and truly in control now, and Northcote scrambling.
Yeah, a little bit of Groundhog Day. You only asked me that about, what, a minute and 30 seconds ago. And the boys are coming back, getting ready for a reset. I dare say the Northcote captain will certainly be in conference down there behind the line having a chat with the Tigers. And what would that chat be like, TJ?
Yeah, it'll just be about resetting their goals, Troy. So having 3 back-to-back tries scored on you is never good to come about. But yeah, it's just about resetting the goals and taking it a step at a time and tackle by tackle. I just want to put a mention out there to Junior Pitto. I probably didn't mention him on the previous try as well, but both of those tries have been scored off his runs and his quick play the ball. So he's obviously a player to be, we probably, as Northcote, you'd probably need to get a few more numbers around and slow down that play the ball, because it looks like he's a strike weapon out there for Mangere.
So Dowie steps in. And the kick is away. So it will be Mangere East 16, Northcote 0, 10.5 gone here at Walter Massey Park. That's a great shout from TJ, bringing in Junior Pitzer there. He's been an excellent player since he returned from Queensland. We've seen him play for both Papakura and Te Aratu over the last couple of years. But yeah, he had key carries in the lead up to both of those tries. So the damage being done through the middle of the park, so that the glory can be had out wide there for the Hawks. So Tamoti Cook it is that's going to get us back underway. And Northcote desperately need a stop here just to halt this momentum. Lulia fields it.
You see Northcote's made a change there off kickoff. Corey, they've been going to the other prop Zion Tassese the last couple of tries. They've decided to change and go to Stedman, but he's just as strong on his carries. So, Mangere, like I said before the call, their middle forwards are definitely something that you need to stop, as you see a breakdown here on the left-hand side.
And it is indeed, as we see, this time Bill Kotu gets it just right. Beautiful legs tackle after being given the big fend 5 or 6 minutes ago. This time he goes low, bundles them into touch, and a great play from the young Northcote fullback. That'll give him a whole lot of confidence. So they needed a stop, Northcote, and they get one here. Now super important that they can complete a set here and get away to a good kick. And you'll see that Northcote are in no rush to get back to this scrum here. They've had to do a whole lot of defence in the last few minutes, so they'll take their time here. So Tiaho it will be to feed the scrum.
Release the man! Here, hold, go one.
Vale links with his edge back rower, former Mangere East man, and Nicholas Halalilo. Vale now jumps out, probably thought about having a little dart there, instead links with his prop forward, Stephen Tapau, who's fending but needs to be careful not to get too close to that sideline. Now what's the call going to be here? Stayed in the field to play just. Holloway.
Boys here, hold here, hold, go for.
Robert Tapau. Good carry from Robert Tapau. All of a sudden in attacking territory now, the Northcote Tigers. Vale will go to his left. Tiaho dribbles a little kick in behind, but Dowie perfectly positioned and then does nicely to escape from the in goal. But better signs there for Northcote, TJ.
Yeah, it was. A good sign was to complete the set. That's definitely what they needed after 3 tries being scored against them, Corey. So definitely probably needed to put himself in a better position to execute a better kick there, though, Jordan Tiel. So hopefully he learns from that and picks up on that on the next set.
Well, they're going to get another chance straight away because there's been an error from Mangere East. So back-to-back sets and opportunities coming up here now for the Northcote Tigers. Albert Talakai wanting to join in at lock, and it's going to be Tapau that feeds the scrums. So Tiaho, the first receiver, and that's messy. It's more than messy. That's a shocker. So just like that, they hand the ball back to Mangere East, and it's going to be one of those days where opportunities look like they may be few and far between there for the Northcote Tigers, and they just let the pressure off just like that.
Yeah, that's a big swing in motivation there, Corey. You could see actually before that scrum was packed, Mangere was still looking quite tired as well. So even though they've had a fair bit of the ball, that just takes a lot of pressure off them by that error there. So I'm hoping Northcote can, keep their tails up here and defend the set quite well, and hopefully return the ball back in some good position as we see a break here.
Siave Tongiu again going through, broke the first tackle of Morgan Tamoti Cook, and a penalty in there as well. It's probably only where it was on the field that stopped that from being a professional foul as such, that maybe warranted some more punishment there. So the kick for touch. Northcote scrambling. This is a huge set now for the Tigers. Have to hold the Hawks out here as they charge forward now into the tackle of Vale and Holloway. Malu linking with Tesesi, another of the former Papakura men. Instrumental in that reign of dominance under Richie Blackmore. Short ball at the line from Junior Pitter again. Linking with Lefau. Quick hands now, they move the football on. Dowie positioned down the short-hand side. Eko Malu, that's the way they're going to go. To Dowie. Lola here, quick hands, Aaron Sealer, but it's forward. Nice to watch, but the execution just a little bit off there, and Northcote dodged the bullet.
Yeah, I was going to say the play before that, they were actually quite flat as well, Corey. So, but again, a nice decision there by Eko Malu, and I got to put a mention to his long ball, his face ball off the ruck there. So by doing that, it just skips a couple of defenders early, which they identified the shortfall there on defenders, which is unfortunately they didn't execute, but nice, well played there.
So scrum to pack. It's Morgan Tamoti Cook, who then goes to Albert Talakai. And I would think this would be the first division debut for Albert Talakai. Comes to the Tigers from Richmond. I don't remember seeing his name on a team list so far. TJ and I touched it in the build-up that he played very well for Auckland Blue in the under-20s, so gets his chance today in Jeff Morton's Northcote side as Vale clears the ruck. Comes back towards the middle, and a bit of footwork there from Robert Tapau. Vale jumps out of dummy half. Attack down this left-hand side now, and Rasmussen's found an infringement. So Northcote, you would think now, will look to kick for touch.
Yeah, just looking at the body language here of Mangere, I mentioned this a few minutes earlier, Corey. So if Northcote can, find touch here and complete the set and build a little bit of pressure, I feel that's the way that they're going to get back into this game. So just, rolling their sleeves up, getting down and dirty with some of the 1% stuff. So they need to tidy that part up here and build some pressure on Mangere for a change.
So back into it with Halalilo. Tiaho brings back Robert Tapau, who offloads out the back. So the second phase fairly prominent here from the Northcote Tigers. Not far out from the line now as Vale gets to dummy half. They'll work the short side. Tiaho changing direction. Jenking. Been such a good player for the last few years, Jordan Tiaho. Big Harbour Bridge pass over the top, and Finota looks like he will now settle. Good leg drive from Eddie, and ball comes loose. What's the call? Strip. So another set coming up now for the Northcote Tigers. 17 and almost 18 gone now, and you would think there'll be no decision to make here. It'll be tap and go as Fanota charges and gets rid of one in front of the SAS uprights.
Hold, hold. Go one.
Vale,
That's okay.
short ball to Powell. Oh, that was a little bit too easy there. Rasmussen points to the spot. And it actually looked at first like Northcote had sort of not thought through the option, but Tapau gets it and just dives over. Well, TJ Ashford, he won't get an easier one than that. Just ducks under the defensive line there and Northcote on the board.
Yeah, I think Mangere were looking for a penalty there on the Shepherd call, but I actually thought he caught it on the outside shoulder there anyway. And that's just well-executed play. You watched Melbourne Storm last night. They actually ran that where Jerome Hughes scored. So, look, that's what they needed to get back in this game, Corey. So, and they've built it by back-to-back sets. So, they need to complete this next set, though. I bet you that's the call coming from the sideline, and Jeff will be calling it now. But complete this set, kick down to the corner, try and muscle up on a bit of defence.
You managed to get through 19 minutes without bringing up the Melbourne Storm result there, TJ, which is rather impressive. TJ, a big Storm fan, and yeah, travelling quite nicely, really. And Harry Grant looking very much like one of the NRL's best dummy halves as he returns. Of course, a number of Auckland juniors on display in that match as well. A number of them playing really good footy as well, which is great to see. As Tamoti Cook steps in, flags go up. And the Northcote Tigers back into this one now. It's a 10-point deficit they face, but after 20 minutes and the way things were going, I think Jeff Morton will be fairly happy with that. Troy Hardy, your thoughts so far on the contest?
Well, I'd like to agree with you. I think Northcote needed an opportunity getting down there. They've certainly managed to get one. They haven't visited the Hawks 20, let alone 10, and what are we into now? 16 minutes, 18 minutes in the first 19 minutes. So we bit of time between drinks, so they've certainly got some points on the board. Let's see what happens at the kickoff.
A big thank you to everyone tuning in. I know there'll be people all around the world tuning in. Expats from Australia and the UK, no doubt, and also our audience through Pacifica TV tuning in around the South Pacific. A big kia ora and welcome to our broadcast today. It's great to have you on board, and look forward to bringing you 9 or 10 games through the rest of the qualifiers before we get into the competition proper. It's going to be a big year, and certainly nice to have the football back as Northcote now charge the ball forward. They work it up through the middle. Fresh legs on the park, it looks like in the shape of Sione Pule, another of the Auckland under-20 players. Vale jumps out and links through the middle of the park. They're making decent yards through the middle here at Northcote as they creep up just over halfway. Tamoti Cook set to the left and will run it. Goes to Talakai. Talakai runs out of numbers on his outside but steps back in. Shakes out of 1, 2, 3. Still dancing Albert Talakai. At the end of it all, makes a few metres but attracts the attention of 3 defenders. Play the ball's a little slow. Levita gets to the kick. It's a high one. Fielded nicely, though, at the back by Louis Lahingao, who then gets a second chance and runs back infield and will be taken down by Albert Talakai.
Hold here. Hold. Go one. Better get on side. Thank you.
Mangere East now charging through the middle. This is the 4 Villilola here. Gets an offload as well. Dowie's on his shoulder. Dowie now charges through, and just like that, they've gone 30 or 40 metres downfield. Play the ball is slow. Lucky not to be penalised there. Well, they'll be penalised for that. That's. And I've got one commentary partner calling it a Hollywood. I'm not sure I'd call it that. So back underway there. Northcote knew exactly what they were doing that time. Right in front of the SAS uprights. Eko Malu with options either side. He'll go to his left to Junior Pitta. Pitta shows and then goes himself a good legs tackle in the end, but this will be a quick play of the ball. Northcote going to be challenged now on this left edge. Goes through the hands. Too easy in the end. It's Louis Lahingor who's going to score it. But again, put it down to the work of Junior Pitta. Nice quick play of the ball, forced a legs tackle, and then from there they find the overlap on the left-hand side. And Mangere East back in again, and it's a familiar name at the heart of it, TJ.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. Northcote just need to get a couple more bodies on them to slow down that play the ball. I believe all 4 tries, 3 out of 4 of the tries have come off a quick play the ball from Junior at the moment. So there's got to be a message to go out there to get a few more numbers down there. And Northcote are just struggling to win the ruck at the moment. Their first up contact is poor, and Mangere, they're letting Mangere, a big forward pack side, go through them because they're not winning that first up contact at the moment.
So as we wait for Dowie to take the shot at goal, do want to give a big shout out to the Mangere East sponsors as well. Each jersey has an individual sponsor on the back there, and great to see the local community supporting the club as well. And for the Northcote Tigers, their chief sponsor, North City Reinforcing Limited, who have been with them for a number of years. The kick is good from James Dowie. And it is Mangere East 22, Northcote Tigers 6 here in round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. It's the Hawks in control, but Northcote, when they do get a bit of possession, don't look bad at all, but it's just been getting enough of the ball that's been their issue so far. So as we head into the final 15 minutes of the half here, Northcote a little slow to get back to halfway, starting to use the interchange as well. A few new fresh legs entering the field. So back into off the boot of Timothy Cook. High one down to the edge this time. Yeah, you kick away from the middle to try and avoid the props bringing it back, and instead Siave Tongi who brings it back, which is hardly a holiday in itself. 38 out from their line now. Malu. Now they work the middle. Junior Pitta. Moving play out to the right-hand side. Vili Lolohea. Really showing his class early on here is Lolohea. Dowie off a quick play of the ball. Come back towards the middle of the park. Junior Pitta. Will ball play instead. Malu. They're going coast to coast here, the Mangere East Hawks. Vale joins in late to try and slow that one down. Lulia will kick. Ball is bouncing. Aaron Silla, did that take a touch? What's the call going to be here? No, it did not. Rasmussen points to the spot, and Lulia, well, that's either his third or second try, and I think it may be his hat-trick. So a first-half hat-trick, not bad at all. But as we look now at the SAS instant replay, just the ball movement here, and then a nice little weighted kick here from Lulia. Let's have a look here. It almost looked like Silla got a touch to it. And off the feet from my eyes. And then, well, an unconventional way to ground it, but did the job in the end, TJ Ashford. So Aaron Silla, from my count, a first half hat-trick, having a bit of a day at the office.
Yeah, man, that's always exciting to score 3 in the first half. And a great execution on the kick there, well weighted. A good bounce, it was a tough bounce, but he's obviously scored the try in the end. And you saw there, Junior Pitta was actually taking the carry up, and then by him playing at the line there, it actually held that outside edge up, which means that they could execute and put the kick behind them there. So very well played there by Mangere, nice little play. What I would like to see a bit more from Mangere is when they've got them on the wide shift, is probably to play back through the middle a little bit, and they'll probably get a few more metres going that way, because Northcote are just on the back foot on every single play the ball at the moment, so it'll go a long way to winning the game.
So Dowie steps in, pretty good off the boot today, and we'll continue that with another 2 points. Mangere East Hawks 28, Northcote Tigers 6, with 27 and a half gone, and they are scoring a point per minute right now and tracking rather nicely here at Walter Massey Park with 12 to go in the first half here. And Timothy Cook this time rushing back to halfway. I think Northcote can sense that the momentum right now, if they're not able to turn it, this is going to become an unassailable advantage here for the Mangere East heading into the break. Big set coming up now for the Tigers, particularly through the middle of the park. and they're forced to knock on. So there you go. Great response from the Northcote Tigers, and that might have been David Barner, probably just on the field, I think, that has come up with the forced mistake there from the Mangere East ball carrier. So Northcote now with a set on the football. 28 and a half gone. The Tigers looking for their second try of the game. It'd be interesting to see a possession stat. It really has been fairly one-way traffic thus far. But as I mentioned before, Northcote, when they got pretty much their only chance of the game, were able to take advantage of it with a try to Stephen Tapal. So scrum feeds now. Halalilo, the first receiver. A little bit of footwork and an offload at the line to Levita. Charging forward now, 15 out from the line. Vale come back through the middle of the park. Again, it's Nicholas Halalilo. Nice and busy on the attacking side early on here, the former Mangere East man. Relocated to the North Shore, I understand, for work, and as a result linked up with the Tigers, his local club now. This is Sione Pule. Tapau will become the makeshift dummy half. They'll get a penalty here anyway, Northcote.
In line with me. 12, come this way. 12, come this way. Thank you. Yep.
So Tapau will go down this right-hand edge, reaching out. Stephen Tapau's got a double. Once again, the Northcote Tigers, given an attacking opportunity, they take full advantage. And it's Stephen Tapau again, Johnny on the spot to get the job done.
Yeah, as we look at the SAS replay there, it was actually a way to build pressure there by Northcote. They had a second set there after Mangere gave away a penalty. If I was Richie, I'd be a little bit concerned with my defence. They've only had 2 opportunities at my try line and they've scored both times here. So, Mangere, by the look of it, they've got that mentality that, it doesn't matter if you score 20 because we're going to score 22 points kind of thing. So, defence is definitely something that Mangere will have to look for. And I was going to say earlier, Northcote, they probably just got to make sure they keep building pressure here and try not to look for early points or those flashy plays here, because I have a feeling that if Northcote can tidy up their defence for the rest of the game, then they can wear down that Mangere forward pack and hopefully make a few more tries.
It's interesting seeing the different makeups of the 2 forward packs here. Mangere East certainly the bigger team and are charging through the middle, but it's actually the little bits of footwork and what have you from Northcote which is doing the damage for them so far. The kick is good. So with 31 minutes gone, Mangere East 28, Northcote Tigers 12, and they're right back in this contest. Troy Hardy and the Northcote Tigers, to their credit, just keep on keeping on and remain in the battle.
Yeah, and as TJ rightly said, they've only been down here twice. They've scored twice. So I dare say Jeff Morton and his crew will be looking to get some more of that and probably, complete their set off this kick-off and try and mount a bit of pressure as, you boys have alluded to.
Still time to sign up to play for the 2021 season. All the details available on aucklandleague.co.nz. Come play with us this year. There's a grade on offer for everyone, no matter your age, shape or size, or your experience in the game. So definitely get involved with that. Great to see shout-outs from some of our stars, Sia Soliola and Georgia Hale, encouraging people to get involved and play. I understand Georgia going really well over in Queensland as well. Her team had a big victory last week, as well as Crystal Tamarua's Burleigh Bears. As we see the ball come loose and another penalty. And considering the amount of defence they've had to do, a fairly high rate of penalties so far from this Mangere East team. That time for a strip, I think. So the kick for touch. This is Levita. And chews off some good meters there. The set will start smack bam on halfway. 32 and a half gone. Northcote hunting a third try as they look to wrestle their way back into this encounter. And just wondering if there's a problem in back play here. James Dowie. In fact, it's just Aaron Steeden on the field. Sione Pule to Stephen Tapau. 2 tries to his name already. Takes a tough carry that time. Timoti Cook. Dummies. Goes. Morgan Timoti Cook. Hands off to Talakai. Ball ends up coming loose though and it breaks down. And now Mangere East counter back through the middle. Lola here. Cries for a penalty and probably unlucky not to get one that time. Play continues now for the Hawks. This is Garaniangu onto the field. Fresh legs for Mangere East. Northcote now just doing their best to slow that ruck down. Here's Joseph Price. Mangere East Junior spent a fair bit of time at the Mount Albert Lions where he was really one of the better middle forwards on the comp, but we see a little error there in the play of the ball. And they turn the football back over, so Northcote to pack down the scrum. But we saw there, TJ, just how quickly this Mangere East team are able to go from one end to the other. They've certainly got some dynamic players in the squad.
Yeah, they do, Corey, and obviously, slowing down their forward pack's one thing, but when you've got to also control their big outside backs and their centres, Viliami, Lula here, and also Siavia Tupo as well. They're doing quite well at the moment in terms of yardage, but I think Northcote here just need to try and find a way to zap a bit of fuel out of Mangare's forward pack. That'll go a long way to getting them back in the game, and the best way to do that is obviously just getting bodies in motion and numbers around the ball and keeping those outside defenders a little bit honest on those defensive lines. Just zaps a little bit of juice every single time they do that. So by doing that, hopefully it'll create a little bit of space and they can work their way back in this game.
So here's David Barner, former Junior Warriors star, played with the Newcastle Knights as well. And the Barner family, really one of the key figures in this Northcote club. Most of the families involved as we see Barner now get the ball, although it's called back for forward. The big fella just for a second there thought he was through, and we've got a player down in back play, and it's Dylan Vale, who I think just may have worn a shot there. We're going to have time off. Trainer onto the field. So Dylan Vale getting some attention here, and while that happens, we'll perhaps highlight some of the stuff coming up for the Auckland Rugby League. As I mentioned earlier, we've got all of the junior grades and the women's grades kicking off. Going to be great to have the Farrelly Photos Women's Premiership and Championship back. Not many sports where you can go down to your local park for free and watch Kiwi Ferns and superstars of the game in action. Going to be an interesting season. I understand the Mangere Marlins are going to be entering 2 senior women's teams this year, and that really is a byproduct of the hard work that they've been doing. And I know we got down to their female program they were holding through the pre-season. Carla Matua are doing a wonderful job there. Mangere East are doing something similar as well. So it's great to see these clubs now with a team in every girls grade and then feeding through to the senior women as well. Continues to go on leaps and bounds, the female game here in Auckland. And you only need to look at the Kiwi Ferns team list and the amount of players who come from Auckland clubs to see the impact that it's making. As we see Mangere East back on the football now.
Yeah, Corey, I was just going to say Northcote's Dylan Vale's feeling a little bit sore. He's pushed out to the edge here. So if I was Mangere, I'll be setting a platform trying to get the ball out here to the right-hand centre, Viliami, to line up against him. It still looks a little bit worse for wear.
So they jump out a dummy half. Lola here has been having a field day already. And if he's got a player that's perhaps feeling a little weary marking up on him, watch out. Ball almost came loose there to Moti Cook. Northcote doing their best to slow things down. They get to the kick, stabs in behind, and it's scooped up and does really well not to get dragged back into the in-goal area there. And I think that was the number 2, Hemi McCarthy, for the Northcote Tigers, as they now centralise. A whole lot of sideways running and didn't go a long way forward in the end. Dylan Vale still just staying out of the action right now. So his backline coming in to help with the dummy half work, and now returns to the bottom of the ruck. Again, that footwork at the line, this is where Northcote are doing their damage. Can't match Mangere East for size, but their forwards doing well to play to their strengths right now. This is Holloway. They get to the kick, it's charged down, this will be play on, scooped up. Mangere East are going to be in again here.
And I think it is the number 7, Damon Abbey, who does it. A good effort to get off his line and charge the kick down, and then a free run to the line. Just a real effort play there from Damon Abbey, TJ.
Yeah, as we look at the SAS replay there, Corey, this is just some good off-the-ball stuff here, and he's put himself in a position to score this try by applying some pressure on the kicker. So, those are those little 1%ers that you look at off the ball, Corey, and it's paid dividends for him and his team now, so getting that charge down in the try.
The charge down's always a funny one to me, and be interested to get your thoughts as a coach, because it's one of those plays that can be brilliant. You can score a try off it, but sometimes if it goes wrong, you just give the team another set of 6. Is it something you encourage with your players when you're coaching?
Yeah, yes and no, man. It's obviously that's a double-edged sword, that one. If it pays off like it does there, you're clapping and cheering. If it doesn't, then you're turning your nose up a little bit. Player's not playing next week. Look. For me, it would be about applying pressure on the kicker. So if you can put yourself in a position to do that, fair enough. But the other thing is, if it doesn't pay off, you've got to be prepared to back that up with another set of 6. Do you know what I mean? So it's just not necessarily about what's happened there. It's about what you followed up with. So if you can defend it well, then why not? But I don't think Mangere would have coped with that one there. They were probably needing that. And you can see that now that their go forward slowed down a little bit as their middle 3 forwards have been subbed. So Junior Pitter's been taken off. I know I mentioned him a few times already today, but nothing's been happening off the back of slow play the balls at the moment. So that's something that Mangere need to tidy up.
Struck well, gentlemen. Flags are up.
Boy, he's kicking beautifully today, James Dowie. Not that that's a great surprise. He is a noted goal kicker. But there is a little bit of wind around today, and the field probably a little heavier than typically would be given some of the heavy rain that we've had. But it is Mangere East who lead 34 points to 12 over Northcote in the shadows of half-time. You are joining us for round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Once again, a thank you to tuning in. It's so good to be back here fieldside bringing you this action. Certainly missed it last year. I think we got 7 games in. But a historic occasion with the cancellation of the Fox Memorial Premiership, the first time it's ever happened. But we're back this year, and fingers crossed we can complete the season without too many issues. This time around, I think this is Siave again. Breaking down the left-hand side, he's got numbers. They come in field, and in fact, this time it's Siave, and Tongiu's going to get another one. Oh, well.
Well, you're not going to see that anywhere else except on Action ARL TV, and that replay will be thrashed.
And I get the feeling my call may well go all through the highlight reels there for all the wrong reasons. Siave Tongiu. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Was that David Barner that come up with that try save? I think it was, man. That's a front row getting back there off a runaway. He's done an outstanding effort for his team there. Hopefully that can inspire the Tigers there to get back in the game. As you see there, David Barner with the last clutch play. Well done. I think Viggo Rasmussen missed the call there. I know he can't be offside in the try line there, but I thought it was a knock on.
Are we going down that way? Shame on you, TJ. We've just seen a fantastic play, and Dave Barner's gone the length of the field, managed to get a hand to the ball and saved a try. And I dare say there's going to be 2 yarns tonight in each club, and both of it's going to be somebody's shot in the jug.
Yeah, well, there's video evidence of that, unfortunately, for Siave Tongiu. But anyway, just as we're going through that, we've got 2 half-time. It is the Mangere East Hawks who lead 34 points to 12. Should probably be 40 points to 12, but never mind. It is the Hawks well and truly in control here. A short break for us before we resume with the second half action here in round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership.
Johnson Murray, I love rugby league, come play 2021, that's us. Junior Scott Wally, I play for Mangere East and come play ARL.
Hi, my name's Tola Manila Watts, I play for Marsh Saints and registered for Auckland Rugby League today. Thank you.
My name is Ben Cossey, I play for Richmond Prims, get down to Auckland Rugby League and play some footy for 2021.
Neil Medell and I play for Mount Albert Topside. Get into an ARL, sign up 2021. Let's go.
So in last year, May, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. It started to get pain in my fingers, and then I went and got tested, obviously, and it came back positive. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease where your immune system attacks the tissue and joints in your body, causing chronic inflammation, so it's real painful. Severe cases, it can affect your organs, so I have to get blood tests regularly to keep on top of my health to make sure everything is going all right. And take a lot of medication that I take is quite harsh on the body. It's methotrexate, so I get nausea and feel nauseous, and yeah, it's not something easy to deal with, but I'm still trying to hang in there.
Has it changed your routine?
It's changed it a lot. You see, I got my wrist strapped. At the moment, it's in my wrist and my elbows, and I find it hard to get off the ground. It's a lot harder, even just getting up in the mornings. Some days are worse than others. Some days I might need help getting changed. Other days I can smash out a workout. But one thing I have learned having it is to keep moving, because you've got to keep your joints and everything moving. If you just stay like not doing anything, it's actually worse. So yeah, I'm just trying to cope with it and hang in there.
What's the reason that you want to try and play through this?
It's always been a dream of mine just to represent my country in any sport. And when I started playing footy, I started to enjoy it, and then that became a goal of mine. When I got diagnosed in May, not long after, I made the Kiwi Ferns wider squad, and then ended up making the squad to play Futu Samoa. And that was a dream come true, and I had been playing with it in that test match, and I was in a lot of pain, but I lasted through it. I had a fairly alright debut, and I just wanted to keep going. So I've just been trying to find ways to, keep the dream alive. It's only the beginning for me, so yeah.
For others with RA, I guess, I know you've created an Instagram page to sort of follow your journey.
Yep.
What's behind the decision for you to be so open about all of this?
For me, it was like a personal journal. I was thinking it would be good for me to, vent to myself on the Instagram page, but I also thought there must be other people out there like me that would be going through a similar situation or health issue, and I thought, might as well. If people want to have a look at it and follow my journey, hopefully it can help someone. It's helping me though, that's for sure.
Just look at it as an option to take up refereeing. You get 100% support from us. We have coaches that go out, so you're not left like when I first started. We got a whistle and a rule book, and then off we went and did our game. These days we support our first year referees with a referees coach for at least the first 2 or 3 weeks. They do a 6-week course before they go out and blow a whistle, so they've some indication of the rules. And we'll also this year hoping to attach a mentor to them, so a senior referee who can they can call upon to ask any questions and support them in that manner. It's an armchair seat right in the middle. Your focus is on those 26 players on the park, or should be, and everything else is peripheral. So the whole objective is to try and get a good game of football out of two teams. The 26 players have their own ideas, their own rule interpretations, and we just stress to our referees that as long as you know the black and white rules, you've got a game of football together. It's an easy. Our sport is so easy to referee compared to other sports, in terms that if you've got a good 10 metres, you get a good clean play of the ball, you've got a game of football. The forward passes, the knock-ons, they're all your call as you see fit to call them if you're in a good position. That's how simple our game is.
Hi, I'm Jacob Hollowborn. I play for the Ellerslie Eagles and come play league in 2021.
I'm Braithen Anderson. I play for the Otahu Leopards. And get down, come to your local footy club, have a bit of fun with the boys, play prems, you can play resis. It's all just a bit of fun. Get out there, get the air in the lungs, and have some fun.
My name's Levi Craig. I'm from the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. Footy's one of the best sports you could ever play because you actually have a chance to show your, you have a chance to show your skills and stuff. It's not like a sport where you're just standing out and doing nothing. It's a sport where you can actually have a chance to do something with it. And when you get the ball, it's awesome. Yeah.
Love Rugby League. Come and play 2021.
Welcome back in, live from Walter Massey Park, Northcote, to get us back underway. And looks like the cameraman's having a sleep up there, and he's back awake. Whoa! Tell you who's not asleep is Stephen Tapau, dishing out a bit of punishment early on. So if you're just joining us, it is the Mangere East Hawks in control, but this Northcote Tigers team, a very young Northcote Tigers team, certainly putting up a good fight and a good account of themselves so far. Missed one of the great bloopers in that first half as we see Siave Tongiu, and linking back through the middle of the park. This is Aaron Silla. Try number 4. Aaron Silla is having a day out. And before the commentators could even take their seat again for the second half, Mangere East are in. And TJ, a all too familiar sight, Aaron Silla, who by our count has 4 tries today. And as we sit half a minute into the second half, I dare say possibly could get another couple here, but just nice support play back through the middle there.
Yeah, it was, Corey. Definitely not the start. Northcote wanted coming back into the second half here. And they started off well with the first up contact. I thought that was well, but, their job would have been to try and keep that up for 40 minutes. So great little play down there by Mangere. It was actually Viliami that made that break there before he went back inside to Aaron Silla. So those two are building a pretty formidable team there, out there on that right edge. So I'm looking forward to seeing them take on the rest of the pack in Auckland.
And the point I was making before I was interrupted by the line break was that Mangere East are going to kick for 40 now, but they should already be on 40. Siave Tongiu with one of the great bloopers. Had the ball knocked out by David Barner over the try line when he'd done all the hard work earlier. But I'm sure you'll see that one circulating around the Instagram stories in a couple of hours' time anyway. Dowie on target. He has been just about all day, and they lead 40 points to 12. A big shout out to the competition sponsors, SAS Sports, as Northcote now make their way back for yet another kickoff. And again, the scoreline looks a little ugly right now, but I've got to give credit to this Northcote team. They are a fairly undersized team, particularly against today's opposition. And when they've been given the opportunity, they have taken advantage each time. But it's a real battle out there. This is arguably one of the better forward packs on the comp, TJ.
Yeah, definitely. Mangere will definitely be one of those ones to watch out for in terms of the forward pack. But yeah, big ups to Northcote. Like, not only do they have a small pack today, but they've went through some battles with their side over the last fortnight and stuff like that, with people leaving the club late. So to even field a team and things like that, they're doing an outstanding job at the moment. And bringing together some relationships from the boys and things like that. So credit to Northcote.
Starting to get very physical in the middle. And a couple of big shots, which were dished out from both sides of the football. They looked ahead down the right side again. And that is the 11, Terrell Lefau-Sala. David Barner staying down in back play. Let's hope he's all right as he makes his way back into the defensive line. Dowie shows, steps. Dowie, nice offload, and they work their way through the middle of the park. Now this is Siave Tongiu. Beats 1, beats 2, beats 3. Siave, oh! I thought he was through. Siave Tongiu offloads to, unfortunately, an imaginary friend, and Northcote get the ball. Boy, he's doing some damage today, Siave, but that time.
Yeah, normally, Corey, teams have a bit of a trophy for someone that's done some silly things during the game, so I can pretty much guarantee CRV's got that one already locked in for round 2. So, look, worrying signs there for Northcote. I don't think, although they've got to be physical, I don't think they can go out there and try and put on those big shots on Mangere. They're a bigger side. Their job here would just be to make sure they can control each hit up and slow down the play of the ball, because at the moment, Mangere are just running amok through their middle.
So Levetta gets to the kick, goes over the top. Is that knocked on? No, play on is the call. And Mangere East will bring the football back. Boy, we've missed this. The entertainment, the unexpected little twists you get. It's all part of this brilliant competition, and it's so good to be back bringing you this action. As we see a Hawks player down, and we'll have time off here. Not too sure what happened there. Maybe just... So Rasmussen makes his way over, and we're going to have a little bit of a stoppage here, and perhaps a chance to talk a little to TJ about the upcoming Region of Origin series. Well, I say upcoming, it's at the end of the year, but TJ, a new look and some new grades this year. We're going to be running over a 2-day format. Just talk us through some of the changes for Region of Origin.
Yeah, so 2021 Region of Origin will be starting off on 25th and 26th of September this year. Running 6 grades in total, so 3 boys, 3 girls. So that's under 13s, 15s and 17s for the boys grade. And then we will be doing 14s, 16s and 18s for the girls as well. So very exciting format. As a kid growing up, you always prided yourself of where you were from. So the Region of Origin format's going to be quite an exciting series to watch.
And if my memory is correct, we had our first Kiwi Fern graduate of the Region of Origin last year. I think Maya Hilmoana, who actually comes from the Tani Whātau Club, she took part in the women's comp there and graduated to make her Kiwi Ferns debut last year. So it's awesome to see that development series in action. And one thing I know, certainly the under 18 girls grade, some of the football, TJ, brilliant stuff.
Yeah, the women's game is growing, massively, not only in Australia but also in New Zealand here. So, you mentioned Carla Matua and things like that. Without people like them in our game, we're not going to see the growth that we do. So, credit to all the people out there and all the people supporting the game and trying to grow it.
So, back underway now, and time restarts after that stoppage for an injury there, and it is the Hawks back on the ball, and the penalty there, not square at marker. So Michael Imafa. They will centralise now. About 5 short of halfway. Abbey comes back through the middle. A work down the left-hand side now. Abbey, a short ball at the line, which brings in Kākoi Tongiu, brother of Siave. Joseph Price goes to the line, looping ball over the top. Lulea. Lola here, taking the ground. Come back now, and I think we've got a knock-on in there. So it looks like a handover ball, and Northcote back into it. Well, Northcote managed to get a stop that time. And just some updates from around the ground. We've got half-time between Glenora and Marist, and it is the Bears up 6-4. A low-scoring game there at Murray Helberg Park. A defensive grind. Both teams coming off victories in round 1. This is Sione Pule. Probably just about the biggest body they got on the park today. Although just as I say that, Robert Tapau carries forward, balls come loose. But penalty to the Northcote Tigers. Big thank you to our ball boys today, trotting around in their Northcote gear.
That was Eddie Fangota's boy down there, one of the Northcote ball boys.
Ball comes loose. Tapau. Stephen Tapau, he's put in a really big effort today. There's a play down and back play, though, which we'll need to keep an eye on. Timothy Cook centralises, and this is Robert Tapau. Just short of the line. Timothy Cook swings play right back to Levetta. Link back on the inside. A charging carry there from the 14, Sionepule. Not far from the line now, Northcote, Tapau! Rasmussen points to the spot. That is a hat-trick for Stephen Tapau. The second hat-trick we've had today. And Stephen Tapau, in a side that's being well beaten right now, boy, he's having a good day at the office. We see here, TJ, just poor defence on the line there from the Mangere East Hawks. Joseph Price ended up getting there, but no one was really home.
Yeah, you can see there's a body on the ground, not even back on his defensive line. So already, Corey, there's someone taken out there. So, again, still worrying signs for Mangere. We mentioned this in the first half. And, it's not about always scoring 40 points. It's about what you can do without the ball as well. So, in all fairness to Northcote, some pretty soft tries around the middle of the ruck there for the game currently. So, Mangere definitely need to tidy that up.
And tuning in from Murray Halberg Park, once again, Glenora have now gone up 10-4 over the Marist Saints. It'll be a really good game there. Marist Saints again, coached by Zane Pocklington and Francis Melly. So 40 points to 18, and for all their faults, they're right in this one, Northcote. Back into it. Driven kick. Down low as the sun starts to shift here at Walter Massey. 22 points the gap.
Yeah, Northcote have a really good opportunity here, Corey, to go back-to-back. So Mangare's middle forwards, they've obviously got their bench on currently, and Mangare's starting middles were the ones that done most of the damage in the first half. So if Northcote can capitalise on some good back-to-back sets here and build a bit of pressure, then they might be able to sneak their way back in this.
Holloway to Tapau, the try-scoring machine with a little bit of footwork. Holloway goes over the top. Timothy Cook shows and then goes. He does have a good running game, Morgan Timothy Cook. Biokoto dribbles for himself. Lolahi is home for Mangere. Oh, a risky offload in goal. It's come off, and now Mangere East able to go straight back onto the counter. And have they got him in goal in the end there? A little hard to tell from our commentary spot, but they have. So great effort from the Northcote Tigers. TJ, we just saw Ronnie Biokotu on the ball. Be nice to see him able to involve himself a little bit more. We know this guy's an athletic freak, and at 22 points down, they've got little to lose right now.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that, like, we've been watching him through the under-20s campaign and things like that, and he was by far one of Northland's, best players. So if we can get some early ball into his hands and see what he can do with his footwork, he's got some great footwork at the line, and he's very quick, as you can see here, as he's taking that up. So if Northcote can get into some good field position and give him some open space, they might be able to get some more points.
Yeah, and you just got a glimpse at his pace there, how quickly he brought that ball back as they attack down the left-hand side now via Big Eddie, who promotes some second phase to Talakai, who then goes to Robert Tapau. Ball over the top now to the other Tapau. This is Stephen Hunting, try number 4, not this time. Talakai rushes to dummy half. Northcote now with a chance to really pull themselves back into this contest. Levita hands off to the 16. This is Solomona Tafiti. In front of the SAS uprights. 51 and a half gone. We've got to reach out here. Surely that's not going to be a try. No, it's not. And it's going to be a knock-on instead. So the Tigers, just as something was cooking.
Bit of a lackluster attacking set there by Northcote, Corey. So I feel the halves needed to take a bit of control there. And all the outside edges were standing a little bit flat. So that comes down to our halves just communicating early and getting them into the right positions, etc. So they lost their way a little bit there. But again, if they can do well here defensively, they might be able to still keep them in their half and build a bit more pressure and try and get some points. So a try there would have been good. Puts them close behind. It'll be interesting to see if number 13 can get over for his fourth. There'll be 2 people going on there with their fourth try today.
Yes, indeed. Keeping the score summary nice and short. And, of course, you can catch match reports for every game in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership Qualifiers post-match. We'll be bringing you the wrap of the action, and there'll be a few games that people will no doubt be keenly keeping an eye on as we see a thumping tackle there from Eddie Finota and the 13 to Pau. Straight through the middle of the park. Fullback to beat. Bielkutu manages to slow him down and just does enough there. Is there a knock-on in there? Play on is the call from Rasmussen. So for the time being, Bielkutu saves a try. Just managed to slow that runner down. We've got 6 again. Mangere East with options either side. Dowie then goes and links with the 17, Limaffa. Limaffa brought down just short of the line. Dowie rushes to dummy half. Shifts the ball on. Quick hands here. Malu's going to hold it. Fighting his way towards the try line. Dowie again is the makeshift dummy half, and just like that, they're over here, the Hawks. Jumps out to his right-hand side, and it is the 4 Viliami Lola here who gets the try. Just smart from James Dowie that time. You saw he pushed the other dummy half out of the way both times. He knew what he wanted to do there, and in the end, it's the very simple option which gets it done, TJ.
Yeah, as we look at the SAS instant replay here, you can see there was no way James Dowie was taking any other option there. He was eyeing up Viliami as soon as he got into dummy half. But the try scorer, he actually set up his own try there by making the break earlier. He's actually been outstanding today. He's been one of my standouts along with Siave. So this Mangere side, if they can get a little bit more fitter and string together a few good performances, I think they'll be one to watch out for by the end of the year.
Yeah, certainly both centres have had a big day at the office. So Dowie to attempt to make it 46. It's a great story, James Dowie, as we touched on before. Went and spent some time at Papakura, but I think he was actually the ball boy way back in the day for this Mangere East team. So well and truly a club man through and through. Dowie. This one is away, so the score will remain Mangere East Hawks 44, Northcote Tigers 18. Round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership Qualifiers, and the Hawks well and truly in control. And there's probably been 2 occasions in this match where you felt like the momentum had shifted a little bit to Northcote's way, but just untimely errors have ended that. And now we're in this position where the Hawks well and truly in control, and I dare say Richie Blackmore for the most part be a pretty happy man. But as TJ's touched on a couple of times, a few concerning signs, and probably namely at times a little lack of interest defensively when backed up against their line, which won't serve them well as they get into their tougher games. So Malu fields the football. Been very good today, Eko Malu. Directed play nicely at dummy half. And no doubt enjoying getting one up over the old club, the Northcote Tigers. Here's a good carry from the 10. Zion to Sessi. Looks like their first choice starting pack. Back onto the field now is Joseph Price, who's put himself about nicely off the bench. Balls come loose, and that'll be a penalty.
Yeah, Corey, this is going to be a big set here for Northcote. You'll see there that both the starting front rows have come back on for Mangere. Although their starting lock forward, Junior Pitt, hasn't come back on, these two were also some good meat eaters. And I coached against Zion a couple of years ago when he was playing for Papakura Seagulls, and he's definitely a tough person to put down, man. So big warning signs here for Northcote.
Yeah, he's certainly been in the elite of the Auckland front rowers for the last few years, hasn't he, Zion to Sessi? Stedmanly foul. vastly experienced at reserve grade level. This is Dowie, shifting hands. Northcote scrambling well, though. About 10 out from the line. Dowie burrows. Dowie's over. Too easy in the end. Smart again from James Dowie, who has become somewhat of the makeshift dummy half in this team. We've got a Northcote player down and back play as well, so let's hope all is well there. But another try for the Mangere East Hawks, and James Dowie now really starting to show his class.
Yeah, as we look at the SAS instant replay there, James has had his hand in a lot of things today. He's always been there or thereabouts around the ball. But again, yeah, some good go forward there by Mangere. Finished off with some strong centre running from Siave. So these guys have got some great footballers spread across the park here in Mangere. It's going to be hard to see anyone go toe-to-toe with them this year if Mangere's at their best.
Oh, you can't hear me?
So just bringing another update from around the grounds. Marist have actually taken the lead now at Murray Halberg Park. So pulled it back to 10-10 and now leading 16-10. So a big turnaround there from Francis Malley and Zane Pocklington's Marist Saints as we await the conversion from James Dowie. And takes the Hawks to the half-ton. Mangere East 50, Northcote Tigers 18. We're going to bring Troy Hardy in now and highlight some of the work being done off the field. And Troy, I know you organised a charity ride recently through the Auckland Rugby League, which was well attended and raised some much-needed funds for the Starship Foundation. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, just guys who like to ride motorcycles. Obviously, there's a few of them that actually play in the Fox, and the championship, they joined us. A number of clubs turned up. It was really well supported. Special guests, big shout out to Graham Westy and Dane O'Hara, who joined us on the day, and just something for, I guess, you know, to raise money for sick children out there at Starship Hospital and just outside of Rugby League. So it was good to get a few boys together on the bikes. Yeah, fantastic result.
So back underway, and a shallow one from Northcote, who might regather it here, just reeled in from Mangere East, who straight away want to promote some second phase and get things going again. And just while we are touching on the charitable stuff, I do want to give a big thank you to all who donated to the cause for young Christian Pesci recently. Of course, suffered a tragic incident during a 20s game where he suffered a stroke, and the rugby league community really came together to help out his family during that time. The battle is ongoing for Christian, but it was really heartwarming to see that. So, yeah, if you did donate or share or send your best wishes, a big thank you on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League. So the Hawks now swinging out the back. That's scrappy from Mangere East. So Malu will kick from the bottom of the ruck. And I tell you what, that's gone over the 20. He may have been just outside the 40. And it will be a Northcote feed, but not a bad option there from Eko Malu. I guess, TJ, another of the benefits of having a halfback as your dummy half, you get that nice little kicking option there.
Yeah, very good into the set there by Eko. So you saw there, loose ball went to ground, and the set kind of went stagnant there for Mangere, and they're looking a little bit tight at the moment. So this is what I mean about, you know, hopefully they can get their fitness up to match them in the back end of the year. But just great play by Eko. Saw the winger was up and fullback was midfield and found touch there and gave us side a much needed rest.
So scrum to pack down. Just gone over the hour mark here. Northcote with the feed. Nice quick play of the ball there from the Tigers. And as a result, able to chew off about 10 metres from dummy half. That's the 4 Martin Watson, who's a rugby union convert, linking up with the Tigers this year. Welcome to the light side, Martin. 5 short of halfway. Talakai taking the ground. Tapau clears the ruck. Robert Tapau now gets an offload out the back as well, and now Northcote generate something down the left-hand side. They're going to keep on fighting here, the Tigers. That's a shocker from dummy half, which David Barner has to go back and then baton to Whenota, although beware of broken play. The Tigers now taking advantage and stroll through the middle of the park via Sione Pule. Tigers on the attack. Tapau to Levita. Levita goes to the line. A bit of a no-look kick, which he regathers himself and then links with his fullback, but it's been knocked on. Knock on the call and handover ball there. Mangere East dodged the bullet. And an update from Murray Helberg Park again. We're at 16-all. Sounds like we're missing a bit of a thriller over there. And the score going end-to-end, so 16 points all there. We'll try and keep you abreast of the updates there from Murray Helberg Park between Glenora and Marist. No one's in too much of a hurry to get things back underway here.
Yeah, Corey, we mentioned the young fullback, Eloni, earlier on in the call, and I'd just like to see him around the ball a little bit more, maybe especially now that Northcote has shown their hand there and thrown a few offloads and things like that. So he's got some great ability, that kid. So if we can see him around the ball a little bit more, pushing around into space and just probably looking for a bit of extra work. You know, you'll find the harder you work, the luckier you get sometimes. So definitely want to see him inject himself a little bit more.
Malu clears the ruck, finds Price. 5 short of halfway now, Mangere East looking to add to the 50 points they've accumulated thus far. Swings it right out the back and Dowie unleashes a cannon downfield. Cleaned up by Bill Kotu and a chance to see Aroni in a little bit of space here perhaps. The chase is pretty good, shakes out a 1. And then betrayed by the Sprigs in the end, I think. Slips over on the 40. Not a bad return though. Talakai now. Good leg drive from Albert. Scored a number of tries in the 20s and really impressed with his ability to help his team out of yardage as well. This is the 5, Tupe Haku. Takes them 5 metres into attacking territory. Stephen Tapau, just about Northcote's best today. And Stephen Tapau still going. Got the fullback to round. Beats 1, beats 2. Stephen Tapau! Just short of the line. That would have been his 4th try. He's killing it today. Talakai will burrow. And held up the call.
Yeah, Corey, Albert Talakai is actually someone that needs to probably, obviously a little bit more experience in the Premier grade will help him, but you know, we noticed some of his strengths in the under-20s competition was how strong he was in terms of a running forward. So, you know, it'll be a good opportunity for him to help his forwards out and things like that and broken place. So, a bit more experience will probably help him with that.
So dragging him down there, Hemi McCarthy. So that set ends on a bit of a low for Northcote Tigers. But once again, there are glimpses of what this team could be capable of, and TJ probably nailed it before, just experience. And there's only one way that you gain experience, and that is to keep on playing your way through. So there's going to be days like this at the office for Northcote. Joseph Price offloading to Malu. This is nice second phase here from the Mangere East Hawks. I say that. Maybe Richie Blackmore disagrees as they charge now down the right-hand side. They link back to Echo Malu, who's having a fine day in dummy half. Again with the offload. This time now they're breaking via Viliami Lolo here, who kicks down the short side. Cleaned up, though, by the Northcote Tigers. And now they'll bring the football back. So exciting stuff given the scoreline. Is Mangere East perhaps now looking to have a bit of fun and flex some of their offload muscle. Got a Hawks player making his way back, and just try and catch the number there as he's coming back in, and it's the number 3, Siave Tongiu. He's had an eventful day at the office, both good and bad.
He's done a fair bit of work today, Corey, so I don't know whether it's injured or just taking a slight breather there, but yeah, no, he's done some outstanding work, as his centre counterpart for the Army.
It is round 2 after all. Plenty of time to get the boys into full fitness as we see a nice run there from Martin Watson. They centralise now, and Tamoti Cook will kick. Finds grass between wing and fullback. And Aaron Sealer, with 4 tries to his name, will be the man to bring it back. I think that's Aaron Sealer. Glenora Bears have gone 20-16 up at Murray Hellberg. 40 off their own line now, the Hawks. Lola here. Boy, we're going to have some fun commentating this guy this year. Gets a nice offload away as well, and now Mangere East break through the middle of the park. Just like that, out of nothing, the Mangere East Hawks break, and it is the try scorer, Jesse Garna-Iungu, who goes over for the try, and Mangere East, just like that, finds some attack out of nothing. I do apologise to Jesse if we didn't quite get the pronunciation quite right on that name there. But really, it all starts from Viliami Lolahia, who hangs a lovely offload out, and Jesse's the man on the spot to finish it off. Goes over untouched in the end. A determined pursuit from the Northcote player. Just about tripped over him at the death there.
Yeah, Corey Viliami's been a standout for today, man, and for all those youngsters coming through or coming up through the grades. And when you identify players like that, if you're a half or a fullback, those are the type of guys that you want to be hanging around when they've got the ball. Every single time he's touched it today, you can just see that he's making something out of nothing. And those guys, they're some very talented players to be around. So, yeah, definitely a great centre pairing that him and Siavi have made so far for Mangere.
Yeah, and impressed with the Mangere East halves and playmakers as well. You're right, TJ. They've got those guys nice early ball and really have reaped the rewards of it throughout this game as well.
Yeah, definitely, and that's just about playing to their strengths. Obviously, they know how strong they are with the ball. And they're like, Siavi and Viliami, they look like the extra back rows out there, you know what I mean? Just with the pace of some of the wingers. And, Siavi is probably quicker than some of the wingers, personally on my thoughts. But, again, as a half coming up through the grades, those are the sorts of things that you want to be identifying. So if you've got some strike weapons, play to your strengths. And this is what we spoke about earlier on in the call with Troy as well. It's just about, having those strengths that you can play to earlier on in the season and then building your combinations off the back of that.
So the kick, good. Another one from James Dowie, and his personal points haul, what's that, a try and I don't know how many conversions, but he'd be well up over 20 points at this stage. He's had a fine day at the office as well. Northcote now making their way back to halfway. And really you would think the message here from Jeff Morton will be to his team just to keep on going. Let's show a little bit of character here. There is nothing to play for but a bit of pride. And for Mangere East, I dare say, maintain concentration. Let's try and finish this one off on a high. No more tries. And let's continue to play to our best rather than dropping our standards as this final 10 minutes approaches.
Yeah, although it's only round 2, Corey, you still need to think about the back end of the year as well. Points differential will come into play in some points. So, Northcote still need to turn up. The game might be out of their hands now, but the things that they do between now and the end of the game could determine where they finish in the end of the year.
Price. Echo Malu. They work down the left-hand edge this time. Kakoi Tongi. Malu to Damon Abbey. They go backdoor again. Hint of a high shot. Play on the call from Rasmussen. Last coming up now for Mangere East. Malu has positioned himself to the right and will be the kicker on this occasion. Chips over the top. Dowie chasing through. Malu, well, tried to regather it, but now the Tigers. Look out, here's Bielkotu. Just for a second had a little half opportunity there, and the Tigers now working it up through the middle via McCarthy. Still charging the legs. They're 40 out from the line. And knock on the call. May have been a Mangere East hand in or around there, but it may have just hit the hand of Dylan Vale that time. Or what's the call? No, it's going to go Mangere East way. So the Hawks back on the football, and straight away, right up on halfway here. Price. Lovely play from the Mangere East Hawks. Joseph Price, he's really put himself about nicely off the bench. Just adds that little bit of playmaking ability, and just as I say that, a lovely late ball at the line.
Handy player to bring off the bench for Junior Pitta. So he's only been, I don't think he's been back on since he got subbed in the first half too, Corey. So hopefully he's okay for the remainder of the season.
Abbey, short ball, Tongiu. Bang, bang, try. Kakoi this time it is that goes over. Damon Abbey, the man at the centre of it. And Joseph Price playing a key role in the lead up there as well. So another one which takes Mangere East up to 60. And as we look at the replay here, just tired bodies, TJ.
Yeah, I thought the halfback Abbey there done very, very well squaring up the line. So he went deep into the line, making a defender have to make a decision, opening up that space and creating a one-on-one opportunity for his big man. So I know there Kakoi's a product of the Southern Cross campus system as well, come through the secondary schools rugby league first 13 system through there, and he was demolishing kids when he was playing as well. I remember watching him in a couple of the games there. So good to see him playing in our grassroots local clubs.
Yeah, it is always nice to watch these guys that have come through the SAS College Rugby League and continued on here in the Auckland competition.
It's a quite handy 1-2 punch there, having the two brothers on the left edge. So, man, as you know, as a half, Abbey must be licking his lips having those two as his lead runners, and then you've also got the likes of James Dowie at the back as well. So, very handy side Mangere East having the 2021 season.
Dowie again makes it 62-18 over the Northcote Tigers. About 5 minutes to play here. So the Hawks bringing it back. TJ touched on it before. We haven't seen Junior Pitta since his first stint, so you have to wonder if maybe there was a bit of a knock in there and they're saving him, or perhaps just given the way that the game's unfolded, a chance to get some minutes in the legs of Joseph Price, as we see a mistake there which is going to give Northcote an opportunity.
I'm pretty sure that's Junior sitting over there in the dugout with the jacket on. So either an injury or Richie's looking to give JP a bit more extra minutes at lock forward. So.
So Vale feeds the scrum to Levetta, to Timothy Cook, who links with McCarthy. Stephen Tapau. Well, he'll finish today with a funny feeling. 3 tries, but in a team soundly beaten. Eddie Finota, recently taken on the role of development officer, I think, at the Northcote Tigers.
Yeah, he's actually done an outstanding job with that too, Corey. He's been in regular contact with myself at the ARL team, and him and David Barner have taken it upon themselves to do a fair bit of work in the schools around that area. So credit to Northcote as a club, and also Eddie is doing a fair bit of work in the school space there as well. So yeah, we need more people like Eddie in our clubs to make sure our game grows.
Yeah, and just as we're talking about Eddie, he comes very close to scoring a try. Held up as the call from Rasmussen. I know for Eddie it's a family affair as well, seeing him and his wife running the Kiwi tag there as well. And David Barner, yeah, certainly gives back plenty to the game. Coached Birkenhead College a couple of years ago, as well as Ronnie Bielkotu goes close, goes better than close. Rasmussen points to the spot, and Ronnie Bielkotu, this live wire fullback, gives Northcote fans just a little reason to smile at the end of a pretty tough day at the office. Nicely finished by the youngster.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier as we watched the SAS replay there. Corey, he's just another player that's exciting to watch. So the more times he can get the hands on the ball there, it's going to be beneficial for Northcote. But just some great lines there, and obviously the change of pace there. He's got speed's probably his main talent there, and he needs to keep utilising that as much as he can.
They call him Juju apparently, Ronnie. So there you go, and I think he's originally an Auckland boy that was up in Northland for whatever reason, so played for them in the Northland comp, I should say in the 20s, but back now with the Northcote Tigers, and nice to give him a try today. He's probably had a pretty hard day at the office tackling the likes of Lolahea and Tongi running at him. Yeah,
he's been doing a little bit of cross-country, chasing everyone around all the time, but just looking at him now, he's actually got a fair bit of size to him too, Corey, so he's still got a fair bit of growing to do as a young lad as well, so he's definitely someone that if Northcote can look after him, and he's definitely someone that can help out with the club, moving forward.
So the kick is away from Timothy Cook, and that's just about going to do us here. The 40-point difference. Should say the other league player I know with the nickname Juju, Simon Mannering. So if Ironi can go some way to matching some of those exploits, then he'll be doing pretty well. A couple of standouts and a beaten team for Northcote today. I thought Laveta's certainly tried his hardest. Looked like he was playing a half role. Stephen Tapau, who could forget him? And the forward pack, Robert Tapau and Eddie Finota, have certainly done their best against a much bigger side. So some promising signs there. Siren goes in the background. We'll get one play in here. And let's see some hot potato Northcote. Or maybe not. That concludes us here at Walter Massey Park. Well done to the Mangere East Hawks, convincing winners today. A wonderful performance from them. Commiserations to the Northcote Tigers. It is Mangere East 62, Northcote Tigers 22. A very short break before we are joined by the captains pitch side.
Dad's got Grayson to pick up all the stuff today, so yeah.
All right, joined now by Jordan Tiaho. Well, Jordan, you just summed it up probably perfectly in a few words. A tough day at the office. What's the, spirits like out there despite the loss?
Oh, it's tough to be positive after a game like that, but the attack's fine. Unfortunately, we're our own worst enemy on defence, and that's a big work on. We just got to front up at training on Tuesday and Thursday and pull finger, really.
You mentioned the attack. You only had a few opportunities to score tries in this game, and you actually took advantage of most of them. Is that perhaps one positive you can take out of it?
Yeah, it is. The attack will come and the points will come, but we just got to defend, really. Defence wins games at the end of the day. So it's a big work on.
I know obviously the scoreline was a lot worse than last week, but did you feel that the combinations did gel a little bit better, and are there other positives to take out of it?
Yeah, there are. There's quite a lot of new faces today, and hopefully we are only going to get better. But if we can just improve our defence, then the points will come, and we will get better. And we got to do it for ourselves, really.
All right, Jordan, thanks for joining us. Commiserations on the loss, but all the best for next week and the rest of the qualifiers.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
We're now joined by James Dowie, who no doubt a very happy man, a decent personal points haul today, James Dowie, and a pretty solid team performance. Your thoughts?
Yeah, just happy. It's been a long time coming since 2019, since we've had our last win. Just proud of the boys. Still a few things we can tidy up, like all teams could. But yeah, just happy with the boys' performance.
In terms of last week's performance, obviously you went down on a narrow loss. What were the key areas of improvement today?
Probably our ball handling in that second half. We let it slip in the second half last week, but yeah, just a lot more with ball in hand and just keeping to our guns, not going away from what we did at training.
Some fairly handy middle forwards for you there. What's it like standing at the back there and watching those guys go to work?
You can't explain it. It's just trying to keep up with them, really. When you see bodies on the ground, you're like, man, where's their offload coming? But yeah, just trying to keep up with them, really.
And Siave Tongi, unfortunately, with one of the great mirrors, let's call it, a try denied on the line there. As captain, you got a punishment in mind?
Nah, he said he was trying to help me out with my goal kicking to make it a bit better, but all the boys said I was kicking them from anywhere, so I was like, I'll just kick them and just put it down. I'll try and kick them from anywhere else.
You just mentioned how long it's been since you've had a victory, James. How good does it feel, and how good is it going to feel going into that dressing room?
It's good, man. It's just a monkey off our back, really. We're a new team and we're still trying to gel, but it just feels good just to get that win finally.
Awesome, James. Thanks very much for joining us. Congratulations on the game, and all the best for the next couple of weeks.
Cheers, thank you.
All right, that concludes our coverage here from Walter Massey Park. Keep an eye on aucklandleague.co.nz for all of the details for our next live stream game. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again next Saturday.